answers to questions. I will put, yeah, I'll do my best to try to remember the answers. Here we go.
So with The Emperor's New School, which I'm a big fan of it, I already saw the movie, but the TV show inspired me to revisit the movie. Um, how did that show come to be, and how did you get involved with it?
I was I worked at Disney TV for many years. I'd done many shows. Prior to that, like many legacy shows, especially ones that were more comical, like Timon and Pumbaa or Lilo and Stitch series and things like that. So at the time, the studio was interested in producing another sort of legacy show, based on a property. And so they put a lot of ideas out there. Actually, everybody could go and actually choose a show or a film that they thought they would be interested in spinning off into a series. And so I chose Emperor's New Groove for number one because it's a great movie. It's funny. And I'm very good friends with Mark Dindal, who is the director. So I thought it'd be fun to work on a show that, a friend, that a friend had, based on a movie a friend had made.
Awesome.
So I can go into more detail on how the process after that, but that was basically it. They wanted to do a legacy show, and so I picked the fun one.
Yeah. And how did the whole premise come into being?
The idea of sending Cusco to school. So a movie like Emperor's New Groove or any film is, you really want to sort of appeal to a big audience in the sense of, like, what they call like 4-quadrant, like hit it, make sure it's for everyone. At Disney TV at the time, it changes. It's a very specific demographic, of who watches that channel. Because a certain audience might think, oh, it's not for me because it's on that channel. So they tend to like things that will mostly work towards the demographic that watches the channel. So hence sending Cusco back to school kind of hit that sort of, demographic that they were probably looking for. And again, we don't really worry about that too much as the sort of people making the show, but that's what the studio looks at. Is this right for the channel? So going back to school, or taking him back to school, seemed like a fun idea to sort of be able to hit that. Plus it puts Cusco in a situation where he has to deal with authority.
Yeah.
Which he's not good with.
Yeah. My favorite character in the TV show is Melina. Can you tell me a little bit about how she came into the show?
I wish I could remember more. The voice was done by Jessica DeCecco, and she was awesome. And I remembered when we auditioned, she was like the number one pick. We needed somebody who could push against the Cusco character, be strong enough to sort of push against Cusco. So I think it was just basically that. He didn't really have a love interest in the movie, so it seemed like that could take him somewhere else. And we wanted a character that could push against him. And Cusco's a little bit of a sort of a like a lost puppy. He's not good at functioning in the world, the rules of the world. So he needed a guide who could put up with him. So anyway, that's basically where it came from. And she was hilarious. I love Jessica.
And what was it like working with Eartha Kitt?
That was great. We had Eartha Kitt back and Patrick Warburton. And what I love about those two characters is they were super easy to write for, because it was very clear on what their points of view were and what they wanted. And Eartha wants to get Cusco, but her plans are always very circuitous in their way of doing it. And the Patrick Warburton character, Kronk, he just wants clarity. Like, I just want to understand what the plan is so I can execute it properly. And so it's like it's such a great pair of characters that are super easy to write for. So writing their scenes were great. And then, yeah, we had Eartha Kitt in the sessions, and she was a blast to work with, and she had fun. She was full of energy. We didn't have to worry about that. She loved the character, loved going big with the character. And then we did do one where she got to sing a song called Ismopolis. And so that was fun. We actually, I think we recorded that at Capitol Records, I believe. And that was a blast to have her actually singing. So yeah, so it was awesome. And I think she won an Annie Award for her performance
I
too.
think she won 2.
Oh, did she? Okay.
2 daytime Emmys, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so she was great. Tons of energy, tons of fun to work with, totally on board. And again, fun to write for. That pair was so much fun to write for.
All right. Now I have to figure out another question to ask.
Yeah, I can go into more. I can ramp. Yeah, if you have anything else, I can.
If you want to go into more detail, that would work too.
Well, I mean, I can talk about other aspects of the show. I'm trying to remember the design of the show. What was, since it was a 2D movie, we were able, we did the show obviously 2D, especially at the time. But we did simplify the designs a little bit. We went a little flatter on everything. And I hate to use the word stylized because it's an abused word, but it's like, what does that mean exactly? But we went a little bit more graphic with it, which was fun. And that helped maintain the quality of the show. And then again, I've worked, Mark Dindal and I worked on a movie called Cats Don't Dance. Mark was the director. I was one of the writers on Cats Don't Dance.
Recently covered that on my podcast.
Okay. Well, I was one of the writers on Cats Don't Dance. And so that's how I knew Mark. And actually, I knew Mark from something else actually before that even, but that's how I knew Mark. So again, it was fun working on, the animation business is very small. Everyone kind of knows each other pretty much. There's like 1 degree of separation of everyone. So it was a lot of fun working on a movie of a Friends, or a series based on a Friends movie. And I shared stuff with Mark, the designs and things like that, as much as I could.
Awesome.
I wish there was more information. I wish I had. I don't have any of the artwork or anything with me, or I'd share it with you, because I don't have it here.
Well, if you ever are able to get a hold of it and you want to email like pictures of it to me or anything, I would love that.
No, I totally can. It's just it's not here at my home. It's at a different location where I store stuff because there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
So I can dig it out and see if I can find some things for you.
That is something I've been searching for a long time, and there's not any of it online.
No, and we have I have some of the original sketches. I have the original pitch for the show. And it's an interesting and fun idea. People often ask, like, well, how do you pitch a show, or what goes on? And at the time, I felt that pitches had become kind of rote, and they're sort of like, you go in, you go, oh, this is a 22-minute show, or the show is 2 11-minute shows about this, and da-da-da. And just not very entertaining. The pitch should be entertaining. And so I remember when I wrote the pitch pages, I wrote the pitch as a letter from Cusco to Walt Disney Company explaining why they're making his show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that he assumed, of course, you're going to make a show about me, and here's why. So he just assumed it was going, and so it was just a fun way to actually did the pitch in his voice, which just seemed, because I started writing a regular pitch page, like a page to sort of talk about the show, and it just seemed boring, and I'm like, wait a minute, this should be communicating the fun of the show. So yeah, so we ended up writing the pitch as a letter to the studio, as to about why making a show is a great idea, and and assuming they're just going to do it. Because again, Mark had created such fantastic characters with clear voices, and dialogue signatures or whatever you want to how you want to describe it, that writing in their voices was easy, as much as you can say things are easy in animation.
Yeah.
So that was a fun element. And then I think one of my favorite episodes was the UF Cusco episode.
Yeah.
Where he misinterprets a patio umbrella for a UFO, and very much inspired by like The Great Pumpkin. Where a character truly believes in something, and a character truly believes in something, but the other characters, at first, they want to, tear down that belief, but then at the end, what's the value in tearing down someone's belief? If it's not causing any harm.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of story. So that
was a really good, because I think that episode, a good thing about that episode is Cusco's whole thing is in that episode is more just a thing of being wide-eyed idealist. So because it's a different side of Cusco than you're used to seeing, really, I think, in that episode.
Yeah, and it's fun. I remember it starts out like in astronomy class or whatever, and the Curtis Armstrong character is talking like all the constellations are named after him or whatever. That was a fun one. And we try to come up with other, another great thing that Mark, kind of like a gift that the movie gives you, is the ability to sort of break the fourth wall, so doing the Cusco's doodles, and just doing it literally on notebook paper, and just looking for anything we could do to kind of keep the energy that Mark had that was kind of born out of the movie out of necessity because of the pace they were making that film.
Yeah.
The sort of cheats, and then the fun of recurring gags, like how many variations on the roller coaster ride can we get, down to the secret lab. Like I think there's one where a police car pulls them over, and how many variants can we do on that and keep it fun? It's like the Simpsons couch, right? Like how many times how many things can we do? So yeah, that kept it really, really fun.
Yeah. And I believe Jacob Martin did the music, or a lot of the songs for the show.
I can't remember.
Jacob Martin. Jacob Martin is my friend. What is the name of that guy? The guy, Danny Jacobs.
Oh, Danny Jacob. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Let's start over. You can, Danny Jacob. Yes. So I've known Danny for a long time. He and I have done a lot of things together. Anything I work on, if I want to do a little a song or something, I usually call Danny and he helps me out. Sometimes I'll write lyrics and I'll kind of sing it to him over the phone, and then he'll do an arrangement and make it better. So yeah, I've done several songs with Danny, and actually in the one song in the musical episode, the Ismopolis song was also written by, oh my gosh, I'm bad when I call it the names. The lyricist who also did a lot of the songs for Tiny Toons. Can't remember his name. I'll have to get that name for you. But that was sort of a collaboration of everybody.
So, one of the most famous songs in the show, because it went on to become a motif in another show, is "Kronk for Hire," which got reused a lot. The instrumentals for it, and Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, Phineas and Ferb, yes. I'm trying to find I want to find the name of the lyricists, because I hate to not give people credit. Where did she go? I'm just gonna really not. This is awful. If I had my phone with me, I just can remember. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, the Phineas and Ferb, that's another great show. And Dan Povenmire did the Phineas and Ferb show, and Dan and I went to USC together, so that goes, we go way back. Yeah, I'm trying to find the name. That's just awful. I can't find the name of it. Let me look it up for you. What else? Any other questions? It's like I wish I had more information. It's been so long. I'm having to sort of like
yeah, it's been well, since the beginning of the show. It's been, or not the beginning, but the premiere. It's been 17 years this past Friday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, Randy Rogel. Randy Rogel was I think was the lyricist for the Eastmopolis song.
Yeah. And of course it was great. And so I think I read somewhere that now, because of the combination of Snuff Out the Light, which is available on Emperor's New Groove soundtrack, from the song from Kingdom of the Sun, because of that, her song in Kronk's New Groove, Eastmopolis, and I think she has a little bit of a song in the musical episode as well. It's a brief like she has a duet with or a battle with Joey Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think I read she's like the villain with the most songs, despite none of them appearing in the first movie.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because you think about it, like, yeah, because we wrote. She didn't really have a song in the movie, and so I don't think so. So we did that. We did the we did that song, and it turned out being really fun. I'm gonna wait. Hold on 1 second. I want to see if I have a piece of art up here. Stand by. Used to have a piece of art up here. Oh, I don't.
Well,
I do have some. I'll find some and try to send it to you, because there was the development art and the some development art. I didn't keep that much of it, and then there was like I said, the original pitch, which I might be able to find for you. It might jog my memory too. It's a few things, but I do remember that, like I said, that we were writing in the voice of Cusco and things like that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So have you talked to Mark Dindal?
No, I have not, unfortunately. I do not know. I do not have contact information for him, and right now I think he's busy working on Garfield.
Yes, he's working on Garfield right now. He has been for a little while. Yeah. He's in the thick of it.
And which is another cat movie, so that should be good.
Very different than very different than Cats Don't Dance. But
you know, it's the Cats Don't Dance and the Emperor's New Groove. Yzma turns into a cat. And
that's true.
Garfield.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. There might be some sort of running theme in Mark's movies that you're discovering.
Yeah. And both the cat in Cats Don't Dance and Garfield are orange, but that's like there's lots of orange cats. I think it's probably one of the most common kind of cats is like the orange tabbies.
Yeah. Well, Mark's awesome and such a kind and creative and funny and fun person. I'm glad I've known him for so long, and he's always supportive of everything. So, sometimes when you're doing a series, people are like, oh, how much do you talk to the people who worked on the feature? How much of sharing of ideas are there? And sometimes just literally just time-wise, people are very busy. And so it's like they've moved on to another project. But so that's why it was an extra pleasure to make a show based on a friend's film.
Yeah. And I did get to talk with JP Manu.
Oh, JP, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, JP was great fun, because we obviously didn't have David Spade back So JP did a great job of Cusco, because again, in a series, not sure how many episodes we made, but in a series,
52.
did we make 52? Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a series, it's that's a lot of there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of material there, and so having someone who's really really committed to doing it. But again, there's a lot of people, I'd say, like again, like Patrick Warburton or Eartha Kitt, or and other projects I've worked on, like on Timon and Pumbaa, Ernie Sabella, people who really feel a strong ownership of their character, and are always excited to sort of like bring that character to life. They just feel real ownership, like it's not just a job to them, it's a character they've crafted and created. So I've found that in most cases people really enjoy coming back and working on their characters. Because I just finished a couple of years ago
Monsters.
the Monsters at Work season 1 show, and we pretty much had the whole cast back.
And that reminds me, John Goodman came back for the second season of the show, of That First New School. I mean, he was in the first season of Monsters at
right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because then, it was the second time I was working with John on the Monsters at Work series. So yeah, he came in and he did Pacha. Yeah, he recorded down in New Orleans, and so went down to record him down there. So that's back before Zoom, so you actually would go in person if possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great to have him back, and didn't have as big of a role in the show because of the change in setting, but yeah.
And
it just adds the truth to it, when the people are, because the whole point is these are real people. They happen to be animated, but they're real people. Yeah. And so when you really want to tell people, come spend time with your friends, or come spend more time with characters you fall in love with, in the best of all worlds, you do everything you can to make them the characters people fell in love with. So when the original voice talent's doing the performance, it really makes the character that character.
Yeah, and Wendy Malick is great.
Yep. Oh, Wendy was good. And then we had a few other people in the show. Curtis Armstrong, I know. He's one of my favorites, so I've tried to put him in most everything I've worked on.
In Monsters. I remember him being in Monsters at Work.
Yeah, he played the it was the what was that? Monster Resources. So Curtis, I've always enjoyed. I think Curtis is a great talent, and he has such a distinctive voice. And I always tell Curtis it's so much fun, because I always say, like, no matter how the angrier you get, the funnier you are. Like, so it's like, and that's always great when you have a character that's going to get upset or angry or yell. A lot of people don't enjoy watching people yell at each other, especially in a comedy. So you want, even when someone's upset, how can we make sure it's still entertaining? And sometimes it's in the writing, but sometimes it's in the performance. And Curtis falls in that category of, no matter how angry he gets, it's still funny to listen to, or frustrated, or whatever. So I've loved working with Curtis over the years.
Yeah.
You probably know more than me about the show at this point.
And so, I mean, the show itself, yes. The behind the scenes stuff, not so much, because again, there's not much information out there.
Right, and then I think we did 52 episodes, as you said, and then and there was always sort of a changing tide at Disney TV. It's like, doing legacy shows versus not doing legacy shows. And I think by the time we had done 2 or 3 seasons, or however much that added up to, they had kind of sort of, maybe at the time, and in not, they sort of drifted a little bit away of maybe we want to lean more towards original shows, and so I think that was part of the reason we didn't end up doing more. And that's fine. I mean, it's just always the shifting sort of climate of what the studio is hoping to do. That's not making a judgment on anything. And at the time, I think I rolled on to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse after that. I believe, maybe I can't remember the order of things, but I think it might have been Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
I'm weird because I just see connections with everything everywhere. They opened the new Mickey Mouse ride at Disneyland. And in the queue, there's the machine they have a bunch of props from different Mickey Mouse stuff, and one of them, fake, because it's animated, but right. And they have the machine from that show, and that ride opened on Friday, which was the anniversary of the Emperor's New School.
Oh wow! They have what is it, the Mouse Cador or whatever that machine?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was fun. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is a whole nother discussion, but that was a fun show to get going. And
I always kind of wanted to see Cusco just go and say, it was all started by me.
Right. No, it was fun. I will say that was what a lot of things that, then again, when people create great characters that have lives all their own, and part of that's the voice talent, but it's also, the like Mark and the story team on Emperor's New Groove, that their voices are so clear. It's just fun to write for them, right? And Cusco, especially with the being able to talk to camera and the sort of self-centeredness, but he's not naive. That's why putting him in the school environment, he's in an environment he has know how to operate in, and an environment where there's authority, and so he was, so that it's a fun character to write for. And then even the sort of self-centeredness of, like, I don't know how many times he says his name in the title sequence, but that was also by design. Like how many, make sure the title sequence is all about him. And it's saying his name as many times as possible.
K-U-Z-C-O, Cusco, go.
Yeah, spell it, actually, It's also good when you make a show and they go out sometimes in focus tests to see if they want to pick it up, and they're like, because one of the questions they'll ask their focus group is like, hey, what's your favorite character? And it's like, and if they go like, that person who was in, if they can say his name, or, people are like, oh, they recognize the name. And so in this case, hopefully they remember the name, because he spelled it and said it about 10 times in the title sequence.
I wonder how many people who didn't know how obviously the Cusco's based on a real place, which is spelled differently, but
sure.
How many people who didn't know, because I guess not everyone reads the credits in the movie and everything, so I guess I wonder how many people who didn't know from the movie how it's spelled learned from the TV show.
Probably, I mean, the actual name Cusco, so who knows. What's the favorite thing you've discovered about the property?
The whole thing.
What's any big surprises? Tell me something I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot probably that I just can't think of off the top of my head. I know that for the movie, Patrick Warburton, the theme music that Kronk's doing when he's sneaking around with Cusco in the bag was improvised by Patrick Warburton, and Disney made him sign over the rights to his improvised song. I know that was a fun one to learn.
Did you talk to Patrick?
Not in the form of a podcast or an interview or anything. He follows me on Twitter. So that's cool. And I briefly got to meet him in person, but we didn't really talk much because it was the end of a Q&A, and I fist bumped him. And I wanted to visit his table, but I wasn't feeling well, so I had to leave early, unfortunately.
Well, he was such a wonderful, warm, big guy, so he's just such a, because all that, he's a big guy, but that warmth that he has, that sort of comes across in his sort of his presence, both in person and voice, is great. Because sometimes you'll you'll find actors who have a big screen presence, but then when you take that away and it's just their voice, you feel like something's lost. And Patrick's definitely somebody who all that sort of that wonderful feeling that he sort of gives on screen all comes across in his voice. So
Yeah.
and really fun to work with because he always dangles out the last word. So so, so much fun. And it's one of those things where you write, it's so great when you write something and then thinking how it's going to be performed, or you have something in your head.
Yeah.
And then the actors come in and just take it to the next level and really own it. And that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So he was a great joy to work with.
Yeah. We've discussed the possibility or a little bit about an interview, but we haven't scheduled anything because I know he's very busy, especially with like Family Guy and stuff.
Yeah, well, he's he'd be great to talk to because I'm sure he can tell you many stories.
Yeah. And he definitely remembers some things. This is a thing I found out. I was listening to an interview of him on another podcast. And he mentioned a song he sings in The Emperor's New School, and I was really impressed by that because they made, and this is because a lot of voice actors, they don't remember details like that because they're recording episode after episode after episode, and then and then add to that years and years later. So I was very impressed to find that, and I think he sang it like from memory in the podcast.
Wow, I couldn't even do that. I'm impressed. You will find I do find that a lot of the actors that I work with on series, they retain a lot when they come in because they want to, especially if you're doing something more serialized, of course, or episode, the Emperor's New School and it's episodic. There might be a Horizon storyline, like will Melina and Cusco and end up together or things like that. But I find a lot of the actors, they do retain a lot, and they come in and they really understand, well, my character was doing this and now they're doing that, or they might question something that feels out of character.
Yeah.
And you want that. You want everybody to feel ownership of their particular sort of place in the show. So having the actors coming in and really feel ownership of the character and bringing the character and pushing back if something feels like it's out of character is great. Just makes the show better, makes it feel real. Again, it makes it feel like the audience is spending time with a friend. And so yeah, that's great that he could sing a song because I couldn't. Whatever it is.
Yeah, it was from the episode. It's an episode where he goes to a town and it's just everybody's crying, basically.
Oh right, I remember that one. Okay, yeah, I haven't probably watched it since it was on. So
yeah.
Oh, okay, great. All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can prompt any other things, but really, yeah, like I said, I'll have to look back. When are you going to put the podcast together?
The podcast, I don't know, probably in a couple months. The documentary is coming out March 3rd on YouTube.
Okay, well, maybe I can, like I said, I'm gonna have access to the artwork maybe even next weekend or this weekend, I guess it would be. So I'll make myself a note and I can just take some photographs of it. Again, I do specifically remember I kept like I said, I kept some of the initial concept sketches for the redesign, I won't say redesigns, but for this sort of designs for the show. I don't have a lot, but I'll try to get you a few things. So that'd be great to have some visuals for you. I'm really sorry I didn't have them here, but I think I'm not sure how many shows I've worked on. I think it might be 9. And so there's a certain point where you just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
And so I finally got around to organizing it and putting in like a storage thing. So so I'll have access to that this weekend, and it's organized, so I actually know where it is. It wasn't just dumped it all into a thing. So
I haven't been working on 9 TV shows, and I have too much stuff.
Yeah, it's easy. Like, when you love animation, it's easy to accumulate this a lot of stuff, right? But
Yeah.
for the shows, it's like, yeah, you're sort of like, you want to keep a lot of things, and then you're sort of like, you kind of have to distill it down to a certain point.
Yeah.
I have a shelf over here that has almost one thing from everything I've ever done on, but I don't know what I have over there for impers. I'll have to look. But yeah, I definitely can find some stuff for you and take some
Awesome.
decent iPhone pics for you if that'll work out. And
I think so. Yeah.
it'll be nice. I'll try to get decent light, unlike tonight, and get those for you because that'd be fun to share.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you just give me more, more stuff. Anything
No,
will work.
I'm frustrated. I can't remember more, but
Oh
it's
no,
like,
I meant like having the artwork and stuff or seeing pictures of artwork is more Emperor's New Groove, Emperor's New School stuff. So
yeah.
I'm happy to have more stuff in general of
No,
anything.
that would be great. Yeah, and visuals are they're always fun. Like, just watching people talk versus having
Yeah.
something to show. Yeah, I'll have to look around and see what I can find. Because I have some stuff, and maybe I'll find. I know we made banners to hang around the office. I think I may have kept one of them. We had one guy on the crew who he loved to build stuff, so he would always build stuff from the show and decorate the crew area with things. So I think I have one of those, but definitely the original concept art for it, the original pitch, I probably have the original pitch pages, because that would be fun to send you one of those.
Yeah.
That, like, talking about, like, written from Cusco.
Yeah.
uh Great. I mean, again, I'm happy. We have anything else basically I can help? I can
Not that I can think of.
help
So.
you remember, or anything you can help me remember? I'll
Um,
probably remember something really awesome as soon as we get off, but
yeah,
if I do,
take
I'll let
that
you know.
just away. Uh,
Let's see. No, I think that, yeah, we ended with the big. I remember we ended up with the big. Like, we did like the sort of tried to do like the musical finale for fun, and I do know that we were originally pitching, I think, one more season. I can't remember what the concept was. It was pretty funny, but again, they had kind of shifted their sort of.
there were so many factors. They were shifting. Eartha Kitt got sick.
Mhm.
And so they created a sort of finale where Cusco gets to graduate and become emperor. And the fact that they managed, like, not a lot of shows get that, like, where they have. It seems more like a thing that happens now, where they will tell people, "Okay, we're going to start finishing up the show soon enough that people can put together some sort of finale," but they didn't used to do that as much.
No, now with streaming, and things being much more serialized, right? Oh, we know it's going to be this many episodes, and there's a big overarching story, that's going to that the show is going to sort of wrap around. It's very different. The project I'm working on right now is that it's a a serialized show
Yeah,
with, and we're telling this one, it's like one big giant movie, right?
yeah,
So that's very different versus the back in the day here. It would have been more like, maybe you did a first season, and then they would maybe do a soft pickup of a second season, like, go ahead and start writing pages, we haven't officially decided whether we're going to do more or not, or things like that. So it was more like a typical TV show where maybe season by season you get picked up. Animation, that's tricky on, because you have a crew, and there's such a lead time with animation, in a sense of, like, the process of that. You want to keep your crew on, you want to start doing more long before it's even aired. You start a second season before the first season is even aired, because you've you're in post on episodes, but you need to go ahead and be starting the episodes before, because of the lead time it takes to make the show. So But yeah, but there still was always that sort of unknown whether you would be getting more or not versus a serialized show.
Awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
So much fun to work on such a great property. Such a pleasure for me to get to do a show that was a friend of mine's film, and hopefully do right by the characters is always, the goal is to, people who work in animation are fans of animation.
Yeah.
And so, and fans of each other's work. So, the joy of getting to sort of play in somebody else's sandbox with their sort of, with them like supporting it is great. And Mark was supportive of the show from the beginning. So, and that's, that's a testament to his great character.
All right. I do not have any more questions.
I will find, like I said, I will find you some, I'm sure. Do I just send it to this email?
Yeah, fireblaststudios1@gmail.com.
Okay, send me an email that's basically said like that, can call it like, Cusco artwork.
Yeah. Okay.
As my reminder, so I have a fresh, top of mail, and then like I said, this weekend I'll crack open.
When do you want me to send that? Just like right after?
Oh yeah, just send it right now to my email. But that way it will remind me this weekend to dust off that bin and find that artwork, because it'd be fun to share it and fun for you. What other podcasts and stuff have you done?
Like what other
Films, yeah.
films?
Or animated films.
Well, my podcast is mostly about the Emperor's New Groove. Okay. This is the logo that I created for it.
Right.
Sometimes I will cover Emperor's New Groove adjacent stuff. Like recently I did Cats Don't Dance. I was planning to do that closer to later on, but right now it's free on YouTube, so I wanted to do it while it was available easily for everyone.
Yeah, I could have told you cat stories. It's too bad.
Yeah. And I did for April Fool's Day, and the only connection this has to the Emperor's New Groove is Cusco appears on like the DVD of the 2003, the menu of the 2003 DVD. I did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I did that episode with Gary K. Wolf, so that was fun. I've done lots of a good number of interviews. I've interviewed some of the interviews I've done haven't been released yet because I want them to debut in the documentary and then later show up. But like for the podcast, I've interviewed, like I said, JP Manu, Tony Bancroft, Bob Bergen, Stevie Wormers, who was a story artist on Groove, Wendy Grieb, who was a story artist on School. I think that's it so far.
And how do you know Steve Anderson?
Twitter. Okay. Yeah, I followed him on Twitter, contacted him about I did an interview with him for the documentary, and then he told me that he had connections with you. So I said,
yeah, Steve. I'm a big fan of Steve. I loved the Winnie the Pooh movie. And it was so much fun having him direct half of the Monsters episodes for first season, because he's such a smart storyteller and such a talent. So yeah, big fan of Steve's.
Yeah,
he's a good person.
He's a great guy. Yeah,
you'll find in animation that so everybody, well, can't say everybody because I don't know everybody, but so many wonderful, talented people who are excited and supportive of other people's talents. Animation is so collaborative.
Yeah.
because of and such an investment in time and energy. A movie taking 4 to 6 years, or a series taking, spending years and years. That it has to be your passion, and you have to really enjoy the people you work with. And there are so many wonderful people and artists and creators and background artists and character designers and writers, and just go on, and producers as well. There's so many great people. It's such a lovely sort of niche of Hollywood, where there's this magic thing that happens and people don't understand how it works. But they do now more than they used to. But they know that somehow it gets done, and it's really artists getting to be artists, which is great. So, not trying to sell you anything. I'm just
Oh, you don't have to. I went to college for animation.
Great.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
UC Blue Ash, University of Cincinnati Blue Ash in Ohio. Not where I am right now. I am in North Carolina. But for a few years I lived in Ohio. And then
Where are you in North Carolina?
Durham.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
This is my hometown where I started my life and eventually moved away, and then moved back.
Sure.
And I have very short in the documentary, there's some people have told behind the scenes stories, and I did animations to the stories that I put in the documentary, in my own unique style. So that's something that was fun to do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I actually, interestingly, I wanted to be an animator, but I also was very interested in writing.
Oh, I'm interested in that too.
Well, it's kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Storytelling.
So I wrote the narration for my documentary.
Oh, fantastic.
It is it's sort of like it's not Cusco, but it's Cusco adjacent, basically.
Sure.
The narration.
As it should be. It's like I said, so that's a good example. You have such a strong voice that it's fun to sort of to play with that voice. Like I said, when it just dawned on me when I was working, like I said, when I was working on the pitch, and it just felt dull.
Yeah.
I mean, the content was the same. It just felt the presentation felt dull.
And there's already a serious documentary about the Emperor's New Groove. It's called.
Oh yes, yeah. So but yeah, so it was like, how can I convey the fun when you're pitching something? You're basically trying to, I don't want to say sell, because that's not fair, but you're trying to convey the essence of the show. And so part of that is your presentation. And if your presentation is sort of dry and clinical, then that's no fun. They're hiring you to there's enough constraints, budgets and schedules and stuff that there's people who are in charge of making sure it's entertaining. And all the artists, that's what the artists do and are supposed to do. So from day one, from the day you sort of present the idea to the day you turn off the lights and finish it, your job has been to make it entertaining.
I actually have finished just earlier today editing the first act. It's about 15 almost 16 minutes long of the documentary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be great. And you're aiming for a win for that? March
3rd. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I will get you something.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure I have it. I'm pretty sure I know where it is. So this weekend I'll try to dig it up and get it to you early next week at the latest.
All right.
All right, and I'm assuming it's pronounced Micah.
Yes.
Well, Micah, it's always a pleasure to share information as best as we can remember. And like I said, it's wonderful to be working in an industry with so many fun people and to have the opportunity to work on such a fun project.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, and if you want to follow up on anything, yeah, I'm busy right now. I'm doing a show for Apple Plus right now, and we are in the thick of production. So I'm pretty busy, but if there's anything that you want to follow up on, or you actually remember a question, or if I remember some fantastic anecdote
Yeah.
that I must share, I will let you know. But I will definitely get you the artwork.
All right.
Okay. Well, keep me up to date. And
I will.
again, if any other questions come up, you just feel free to ping me, no problem.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Micah.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.